हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Nandita Mataji, I think
Yes, Prabhu.
Chaitra Ramaswamy, she has posted the
Yes,
attendance.
Prabhuji.
You
Yes,
can
Prabhu.
post it in everyone's.
Yes, Prabhuji, I will post it again during the class twice, so
Okay.
that if people join late, they can give the attendance.
Okay. So
Thank
shall
you,
we
Prabhu.
start now?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you. So I welcome all the devotees for today's Nectar of Devotion class. We are continuing from yesterday. Yesterday we have seen the first three shloka, so not third to fifth shloka. Today we are continuing with the sixth one up to 8. 6, 7, 8 are the three shloka that we are going to do today. So we'll start with the Mangalacharan. Let us take the blessings of Shri Radha Govinda, by whose mercy we are able to conduct all these activities, and it is for all their pleasure we are doing all these activities. Shri Radha Govinda ki jai, Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. You all can chant with me. Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। ओम विष्णु प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांता स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादि पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जयो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। It is also called as Bhakti Rasa Amrita Sindhu, chapter 6 to 8. We have seen all these points in the last class. It is the first Lahari, that is in the preface and chapter 1. Then introduction, we have the Mangalacharan and definition of the pure devotional service. Then in the second Lahari, we have the, sorry, chapter 2, 2 to 16, it is the second Lahari or second wave. It is divided into two parts. One is Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, other one is Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. Then we have seen yesterday principles of Sadhana Bhakti. And in the third chapter, it is talking about eligibility for accepting the devotional service. That is the attraction for the service of the Lord, which is obtained by the mercy of the devotee. And the advancement is depending on how much faith and knowledge that we have in scriptures. And when we are free from bodily concept, then we will get the pure devotional service to Lord Krishna. And in the fourth chapter, we have seen the pure devotional service, how it is free from desire for liberation and sense gratification. Next, chapter 5, it is talking about how the pure devotional service is completely independent. It is self-sufficient. There is no need to do any atonement, or you need not have a pious birth or purification through Vedic rituals. All these things need not be done. And bhakti is not dependent upon any of these things. Today we are continuing with the 6th chapter, how to discharge devotional service. So there are 64 items of the sadhana bhakti, how to discharge this devotional service. So any activity, if we want to perform, we should know how to perform the activity, or we should have the knowledge of that activity. We should get trained by someone, that is the spiritual master. And there are 64 things to learn in sadhana bhakti. Now we will see them. What are the most important things that are to be known? So there are 20 items are considered as primary importance, and 44 are additional items. And among 20, the first 10 are called pravritti, then next 10 are called nivritti, or one items to be accepted, that is pravritti. Those are the preliminary items, and the remaining is to be avoided, the 10 items. And among these first 10, there are first 3 are most important, beginning from the accepting of a spiritual master, and remaining 7 will be the secondary. And again here, the additional items 44, we have 21 to 59. These are the items of sadhana, and 60 to 64. These are the 5 most effective items. So here, the first 3 are most important, and the last 5 are also most important in performing devotional service. Now, Srila Rupa Goswami summarizes most important vidhi. Vidhi means to do something. Nisheda means to give up something. So vidhis of Hari Bhakti Vilasa, in Hari Bhakti Vilasa, that is principles over details. What are the 5 major things? The 10 major things to accept. In that, again, we can categorize 5 plus 5. So here we have seen. These are the 10 items to accept. Again, in this, I can make 5 plus 5. That is, accepting a spiritual master or guru is the most important item in spirituality. Unless we have a guru, we cannot advance in spiritual life. Actually, we cannot approach Krishna at all because we are not qualified. But because the spiritual master is showing mercy on us, because spiritual master is recommending us to Krishna, we are able to approach Krishna. Otherwise, it is not possible. So if we want to progress in devotional life, we have to serve the guru. So that is accepting a guru and taking initiation and training from the guru. That is called as Diksha. In Sanskrit, we call it as Diksha. Diksha means initiation. We should not think that if I get the Diksha in spiritual life, I have achieved my goal. No, it is the beginning. This we should not get confused, or we should not get misled. A person who has taken Diksha means he has started his spiritual journey. And taking this initiation and getting trained by the spiritual master is most important. Then obeying the guru or spiritual master with the complete faith. So these are the first three most important things. First one is accepting a guru. Second, taking Diksha or initiation and training from him. And third one is obeying him. Not that I accept some guru and I will just tell his name everywhere that I am the disciple of such and such great person, and I don't obey him anywhere, or I don't take any of his instruction. No, that is not allowed. Once we commit ourselves to guru, we should be ready to follow his instructions. Then following acharyas under guru. So guru means not only one person. Guru means there are so many gurus, because the guru is coming in the parampara. Just like I have a guru and my guru has another guru and he has another guru. So this is the acharya parampara. So if I have to follow my guru, I have to follow all the acharyas who are coming in the parampara system. So under the guidance of guru, I have to follow all of them. And then I have to inquire. So when I am starting my spiritual journey, I will have so many questions in my mind. So these things to be questioned from the guru. So these are the 5 things related to the spiritual master to accept. Then 5 things we have to give to Krishna, or we have to accept from Krishna. That is, for gaining Krishna's mercy, we should be ready to give up anything that is troubling our spiritual life. Or anukulyena sankalpa pratikulyena varjanam. So whatever which is favorable for my devotion to Krishna, I should accept it, and whatever unfavorable, I should give it up. Then 7th one is residing in Dhama. That means we should reside among the devotees, and we should reside in a environment where there is a very good opportunity for performing devotional service. If we are living among the non-devotees, or if we are living with the people who don't support us in our spiritual life, then such place may not be conducive for our advancement in spiritual life. Then accepting only the necessity or necessaries, living a simple life. Don't accumulate the things so much unnecessarily. So accept only whatever needed. If you are capable, you can take the entire world and you can offer it to Krishna. Or if you are not possible, one should not accept anything for himself. He should accept the things only for the service of the Lord. Then observing Ekadashi. Yeah, tomorrow we are observing Ekadashi. Everyone should observe this Ekadashi. Ekadashi observing, the best way is not to drink any water also, drop of water also. But that may not be possible for all. We can drink water, or you can take fruits or milk, the second stage. And even if that is not possible, you can take some boiled vegetables. But observing Ekadashi is most important. Don't take grain on the day of Ekadashi. That is most important, because in the grain there will be sinful reaction that is present in the grain on the day of Ekadashi. Then worshipping Tulasi and sacred trees, that is the people tree and Tulasi, worshipping this. So these are directly related to Krishna. Now, what are the things which should not be done? The 10 things which has to be given up. Associating with non-devotees. Here, association means you must have heard in Nectar of Devotion, Nectar of Instruction, there are 6 things to be exchanged between 2 people if they want to associate. So we should not have these 6 things with the non-devotees. We may be working in office, and for business purpose, we may have some communication with them. That is not called as association. That is just external dealings. But if you are very serious in spiritual life, don't do the 6 things: dadati, pratigranati, guhyamakhyati pruchati, bhunkte bhojayate chaiva, shadvida priti lakshanam. So this priti lakshana we should not show to them. That is, associating with the non-devotees should be given up. And instructing the disinterested. Now I have learned something about Bhagavad Gita or Ishopanishad, nectar of devotion, nectar of instruction. Now I cannot tell this to everyone. I should find out a proper candidate if at all I want to preach. Now, what happens if we simply tell all these concepts to others, those who are non-believers, those who are not interested, they may offend, and that offense will come to us also. So you can just call them for Bhagavad Gita class, or you can inform that there is a Bhagavad Gita class going on. You can take the benefit. That is allowed. But directly opening all the topics of spirituality for a disinterested person can become a offense. So it has to be given up. Get carried away by building pricely temples. Now, building a temple is very great. Temples are like the study centers, and they are the cultural center. Temples serve the society in so many ways. But building very expensive temples, which are beyond our capacity, is not recommended. Of course, if you have money, you can build big temples. There is no problem. But we should not get into that so much so that I don't have time for chanting my rounds. No, that should not happen. That's called prayasa. And read too many books. Now, books are like, they are guiding path. Or if you read Prabhupada book, you will get all the knowledge which is needed for performing spirituality. But what is this reading too many books? Too many books reading means without any consideration for the instruction of Guru, we are just purchasing the book and reading it. It may be of some other parampara, or it may be having some other philosophy, which will just confuse me. So better don't read any book randomly. So before you go for it, ask your spiritual master or your senior devotee. Then only you can read such books. As far as Prabhupada's books are concerned, everyone can read it. The list of books are given in the front sheet of every book. So you can read any of them. There is no problem. But reading other parampara books is not recommended. And neglect ordinary dealings. The devotee will not get carried away by some of the small problems that comes in life. And no lamentation, no jubilation for gain or loss. He will not become too happy if he gains something, or he will not become too sad when he loses something. Then disrespecting the demigod. In Bhagavad Gita, it is told that we should not worship the demigod, because demigods are servants of the Lord, and worshipping them as the supreme is like an insult for them. So better don't worship them. At the same time, you should not disrespect them. Speaking or blaspheming demigods like Indra. Indra is a very great post, and he is taking care of the entire universe. Whatever needed, he is taking care of it. So we should have due respect for him. And devotees doesn't trouble others. They don't make offenses. And if somebody makes offenses to him, he will tolerate, but not for his devotees and Lord. So the devotee, he will not tolerate the blasphemy of the Lord or the blasphemy of another devotee. So if we want to advance in our spiritual life, we should follow these things. Without following this, we cannot elevate in our sadhana bhakti. And the major 4 things which has to be given up is Dyutam panam striya suna. Tatra adharma chaturvidaha. So what are they? Intoxication, gambling, meat eating, and illicit sex has to be given up. Now, how to discharge the devotional service? Totally, there are 64. 20 items of primary importance. In that, 10 items to be accepted. And by doing so, it will strengthen our foundation of devotional service or pure devotional service. As we follow the instructions of spiritual master, Krishna will bless us so that we can advance in our spirituality. And what are the most important essentials and why? Guru introduced one to all the other items of sadhana and guides him in their application. Thus, without first three, execution of remaining 61 is not possible. So first three is accepting a spiritual master and taking initiation from him and obeying him. So unless we do these three things, we cannot even think of the 61, remaining 61. Now, second part is the nivritti part. That is something we have to give up. So without avoiding these things, one's spiritual life will not start, or it will corrupt, or it will decay the foundation. Next comes the 44 additional items of service, which is from 21 to 64. These are the 44 practical ways so that we can engage in the different types of devotional life. That is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atma Nivedanam. These are the Navavidha Bhakti. There are 9 processes for the purpose of focusing the mind upon Krishna and mean to reawaken bhava. And among them, 21 to 59 are sadhana, and 60 to 64, that is 5 most effective items. These are practiced everywhere. Srila Prabhupada has made a wonderful system so that everyone has access for these 5 most important items. Unequally effective in reawakening bhava bhakti. So these things are also again explained in the chapter 12 and 13 in detail later on. Now, these are the 5 most important items in sadhana bhakti. What are they? First one is associating with the devotees. So this we can do only if we have a association, or if we are going to temple, then we can associate with the devotees. Or if the devotees come to the place where you are staying, then also you can have the association of the devotees. So whenever there is an opportunity, we should go for associating with the devotees, because devotee association will save us from so many anarthas. Now, when the devotees come together, what they do? They do Sankirtan. They will do Kirtan. So that is the second part. Then Sankirtan, then Srimad Bhagavatam has to be heard everywhere. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. So every day you have to listen to Srimad Bhagavatam. And you living in Mathura Vasa. Here, living in Mathura means one should live in a sacred place. One should live among devotees, or one should be in touch with the temple which is nearby. It does not mean that everyone should go and stay in Mathura. That is not practical also, and it is not possible, and it is not recommended also. Now, worshipping the deity is the 5th item, where it's called as Archana, where we will get a practical experience or practical opportunity for serving the Lord, just like you serve a guest or a king or a small child, how you serve. Similarly, we can serve the deity. How deity service is done? Early morning, we wake up the deity, we give Naivedya for the deity, then we do Arati for the deity, Like that, so many activities we do, which will help us to advance in the sadhana bhakti. Now, if you are not following these things, one cannot properly elevate oneself to sadhana bhakti. Now, these are the 64 things which include all the activities by body, mind, and words. So we have to do this with all the three things. Now here, Rupa Goswami is writing in this book, the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatra Vidhim Vina Aikantiki Harer Bhaktir Utpatayaiva Kalpate. The purpose is that to become a devotee, one must follow the principles laid down in Shruti and Smriti. One must follow the codes of the Puranas and the Pancharatriki Vidhi. One cannot be a pure devotee without following the Shruti and Smriti, and the Shruti and Smriti without devotional service cannot lead one to the perfection of life. Now, what is told here? Devotional service I cannot imagine. If I want to serve the king, or if I want to serve any guest, we should know what they like. I can't say that whatever I give, you should accept. That is not possible. Similarly, for the Lord also, we should learn Shruti and Smriti to understand what Krishna likes. Then we have to follow, or then we have to serve the Lord. So that is Shruti, Smriti, Purana, Pancharatra. Purana, there are different types of Purana, 18 Puranas are there. And Pancharatra is the one which teaches us about worship of the Lord. So these are the things in the chapter 6, that is how to discharge the devotional service. So I request all of you to read the book given by Srila Prabhupada. We will get more idea whatever discussed today. Then chapter 7, it is talking about evidence regarding the devotional principles. In Guru Padashraya, this is the first one, that is Guru Padashraya, accepting the shelter of a spiritual master, bona fide spiritual master. Tasmad Gurum Prapadyeta Jijnasu Shreya Uttamam Shabde Parecha Nishnatam Brahmani Upasama Shrayam. Therefore, any person who seriously desires real happiness must seek a bona fide spiritual master and take shelter of him by initiation. The qualification of the bona fide guru is that he has realized the conclusion of the scriptures by deliberation and is able to convince others of these conclusions. Such great personalities who have taken shelter of the Supreme Godhead, leaving aside all material considerations, should be understood to be bona fide spiritual master. Now, what are the qualifications of a spiritual master? It is told everyone must accept the spiritual master, but you cannot accept anybody and everyone. We should check whom I have to take as my spiritual master. So what are his symptoms? It is told here. He is a Shabde Parecha Nishnatam. Nishnatam means he is expert. He is expert in the scriptures and he knows all the conclusions of the scriptures. So he himself has completely convinced and he is capable of convincing others also in the conclusions of the Shastra. Qualifications of a spiritual master, again it is listed here. He must have realized the conclusion of the scriptures by deliberation and argument and thus be able to convince others of these conclusions. So this is nothing but the symptom of a Uttama Adhikari. Uttama Adhikari is the one who is capable of making others also devotees. Next, third point is should act according to scriptural injunctions, especially the principles of devotional service. So if we have to advance in spiritual life, we should follow the instructions which is given in the Shastra. And his character is beyond doubt. I should not be doubtful about my spiritual master, and should have conquered the 6 sense gratifying agents, that is atyahara prayaschasta prajalpo niyamagraha janasangascha laulyam cha shadbhir bhakti vinashyati, and also the vacho vegam, manasa krodha vegam, jihva vegam, udaropastha vegam. All these things he has controlled, then he can become a spiritual master. We can accept him as a spiritual master. Accepting initiation from the spiritual master and receiving instructions from him. So one should accept the spiritual master as the representative of God. Now, when we accept the spiritual master, there is no difference. For me, there is no difference between God and spiritual master. I should respect both of them together on the same level. But the guru, he will not think that, oh, I also now become God. No, I have so many followers, so I'm God. No, because the God is God. We cannot become God. He is always the supreme personality of Godhead. And this is about spiritual master as the representative of God. And the spiritual master, what he thinks, oh, Krishna has sent me this jiva, this living entity, to be trained by me. So I will take it as a responsibility, and I will train him, and I will make him a devotee. Next, one should learn Srimad Bhagavatam seriously and with all respect and revelations for the spiritual master. So reading Prabhupada books, that is Srimad Bhagavatam, one should read it very seriously, so that he will get the mercy of the spiritual master. Next, the attitude of the disciple should be to satisfy the spiritual master. So whatever the disciple does, it is for the satisfaction of spiritual master. Spiritual master is a personification of God. For a person who has unflinching faith in God and the spiritual master, everything becomes revealed. So Guru and Krishna. Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavana Jiva Guru Krishna Prasadepaya Bhakti Lata Bija. Among all the 14 planetary systems, who is the best person, or who is the lucky person? The one who is having Guru Krishna Prasadapaya. Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavana. One who is Bhagyavan, he is the one who got the spiritual master. So one should know the Acharya as myself. Krishna is speaking this. And never disrespect him in any way. One should not envy him, thinking him an ordinary man, for he is the representative of all the demigods. Next comes Sadhu Vartmanu Vartmanam, that is following in the footsteps of saintly persons. Now, if one follows in these footsteps of the previous Acharya, he can receive the achieved desired result. Now, for this reason, the Acharyas have written so many poems, and they have written the books so that it will guide us even in their absence. So that is how we have to follow the footsteps of the spiritual master. Otherwise, one cannot progress, because if you try to learn Sanskrit and then learn the Shastra completely, then come to conclusion, then you apply in your life, you don't have so much of time, and there is no facility properly. So one should follow the spiritual master, and if you don't follow the spiritual master, there is no progress. Srila Joga Goswami explains that Sadhu Vartma, or proper path, means the path composed of rules from the Shruti and other scriptures. That is, the path composed of the rules from the Shruti and Smriti. And if you don't follow it, you will become a Sahajiya. Sahajiya means he is a imitator. I want to become a devotee. I want to become a great devotee. So what is the great devotee symptom? Whenever he hears the name of Krishna, he will become so emotional, or he will remember Krishna so intensely that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to faint. They cannot tolerate that separation from Krishna. But somebody who is aspiring to get that position and one who is not capable, he will try to act like that. Then that is called as Sahajiya. Sahajiya means he is an actor. He himself has got cheated by his mind, that he is thinking he has already achieved the perfection. Then Buddhists don't accept the Sanatana scriptures. Nindasi yajna videraha shruti jatam sadaya hridaya darshita pashughatam keshavadrita buddha sharira jaya jagadisha hare. Jayadeva Goswami writes this in the Gita Govinda invocation. What he says, when Buddha came here, people were slaughtering the animals. And if you go and ask them, why are you slaughtering? It is so sinful. Then they say, no, it is told in Vedas. We can sacrifice animals and eat them. But it is not so. It is told that one who cannot control his tongue, he can sacrifice once in a month or like that. Then he has to distribute whatever he has done, cut. And he has to tell that it is called mamsa. Mamsa khadayati iti mamsaha. That means today you are my food. I am eating you, and tomorrow you will be able to eat me. So that is what it is told. But people were randomly taking the advantage of the scriptures. So Buddha came and he told ahimso paramo dharma. No more killing of animals. And if you say scriptures say that, I will reject that scripture. So nindasi yajna videraha shruti jatam. He just disobeyed all the systems just to bring people to sanity, or to make them understand the importance of non-violence, or to stop the people from misusing the scriptures. Sadharma Pricha, inquiring about eternal religious principles, that is Bhogadi Tyaga Krishnasya Hetave, being prepared to give up everything material for Krishna's satisfaction. Anukulya Sankalpa Pratikulyena Varjanam. If I get up early in the morning, my chanting will be good. Okay, I will get up. If I get into bad habits or the association of bad friends, then my spiritual life may get affected. Okay, then I will not associate with them. I will just give up their association. Then Nivaso Dwarakandancha Gangadhar Api Sannidhav. That is residing in a sacred place. So sacred place can be the temple or your own place where you perform spiritual activities. It is not that you have to go to Vrindavan and stay there permanently. That is not practical, and it is not recommended also. Vyavahareshu sarveshu yavad arthanu vartita, accepting only what is necessary, living a simple life. The devotees live very simple life. They don't complicate their life by accumulating too many things, which is not necessary. Harivasara Sammano. Harivasara means Ekadashi. That is coming tomorrow. We have Ekadashi. So we have to follow Ekadashi. And Dhatri Ashwathadi, Dhatri Ashwathadi Gauravam. That is the cow, the banyan tree, and Tulasi. All these we have to pay respect. Ashwatha tree, that is a people tree, and Amalaki tree, Tulasi plant, cow, Brahmana, Vaishnava, all these people we have to show our respect to them. Then comes Sri Krishna Vimukha Jana Sangha Tyaga. So those are the first 10 things which has to be accepted. Now the remaining 10 which has to be given up. So two kinds of non-devotees, Avaishnavas are there. One is against the supremacy of Krishna, that is, they directly blaspheme the Lord, or they will try to reduce the faith of people in Krishna, that is against supremacy of the Lord. Katyayana Samhita, there is a quote about this. And second one is about this too much materialistic people. They don't know what is Shastra, they don't know what is spirituality. They just enjoy the material nature, which is not possible to enjoy permanently. So quote from the Vishnu Rahasya. Then Shishyadi Ananu Bandhitvam, not accepting unfit disciples, especially for prestige. So one should not accept disciples who is not qualified just because he has some influence or he has some money. One should not accept him as the spiritual, the disciple. Maharambhadi Anudyamaha, not constructing many temples, that is not being enthusiastic for huge undertakings. Don't take too much of responsibility in your life. You will not get time for reading. So that is called prayasa in the previous chapter, Upadeshamrita. Next, Bahu Grantha Kalabhyasa Vakya Vada Vivarjanam. Reading too many books which are non-devotional, or even if they are devotional for the purpose of livelihood or to defeat others in useless arguments, is not recommended. So by doing the devotional service, I should not try to earn my livelihood by distributing the knowledge. Vyavaharepi Akarpanyam, that means not feeling unusable in material circumstances, that is not obtaining food or losing one's belongings. This is the first quote from Padma Purana. Then Shokadi Avasa Vartita, that is not being subject to lamentation or illusion. So this is another quote from Padma Purana. Anya Devan Avajna, that is disrespecting the demigods, is also not recommended. It will not help us in advancing spiritual life. And Bhuta Anudvega Daita, not giving pain to any living entity. First one is accepting the shelter of his bona fide spiritual master. Why it is important? Because spiritual master only can show how to execute all other practices. Evidence we have seen. Who is a bona fide spiritual master? One who is a Uttama Adhikari, and he can control all the 6 types of sense gratification. Vacho Vega Manasa Krodaya. Now, accepting initiation from the spiritual master is the second part. Accept as representative of Krishna, learn Srimad Bhagavatam from him, and our attitude must be always to satisfy the Lord. Third one is serving the spiritual master. The first 3 important thing. Apply the knowledge of 1 and 2 by serving him. Next is never be envious of him. So sometimes what happens, we see that spiritual master, he is at a very high position. Everyone is paying obeisances to him. We should not become envious of it because he deserves it. And by paying obeisances to him, the people who are doing it will get benefited. Next, equal to serving all demigods. So demigods, he doesn't have attachment, neither detachment. He doesn't blaspheme the demigods, which sometimes happens. Once we read Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita says, those who are worshipping other demigods, they worship me in a avidhi purvakam, in a wrong manner. So that that may lead to blasphemy of the demigod, but demigod should never be blasphemed. And following in the footsteps of saintly persons who does all the devotional activities. Now, when we are following in the footsteps of spiritual master or saintly persons, our doubts will be cleared. We get instructions from them. Example is Buddha. Buddha, we should worship him or not? That is the question. Now, even though Buddha is the incarnation of spiritual master or supreme personality of Godhead, I'm sorry, he has rejected the Shastra. Nindasi yajna videraha shruti jatam. He will not accept Shastra. Now, if we don't accept Shastra, we can't accept the instructions of Buddha. So that is how we have to follow in the footsteps of the spiritual master or saintly people. And unless follows Shruti Smriti, only disturbs society. That is the shloka we saw. Shruti Smriti Purana Adi Pancharatriki Vidimmina Aikantike Harer Bhakti Vai Utpata Eva Kalpate. If I just imagine something and do it, that can't be a spiritual advancement. Then inquiring about religious principles and prepare to give up material enjoyment. Okay, next is serving the spiritual master with faith. Apply the knowledge. Okay, this is over. Residing in a sacred place. It is like a Swarupya Mukti. Swarupya means we will get the same form as Krishna, four-handed form. Everyone will get. And if we are in a sacred place, there is more chance for us to go very close to Krishna and do some service. Demigods see as four-handed residents of Jagannath Puri. Then Ganges sanctifies fully. Next, eighth one is accepting only that is necessary for the spiritual activity. Just a minute. So residing in sacred place, we get a opportunity for Sarupya Mukti. Accepting only what is necessary. Anukulyana Sankalpa. One should eat, as I told earlier, one should eat just for keeping the body alive, body and the soul together, so that he can remember Krishna always. And make realistic vows for spiritual advancement. Here, vows are something more what we do regularly, more than what we do. We read 16 rounds chanting. Sometimes you can say, oh, this is a Kartik month. Every day I will chant 20 rounds or 25 rounds. The practical, realistic vows you have to make. You can't say that tomorrow onwards I will chant 192 rounds every day. That is not possible. Then fasting on Ekadashi is recommended, and offering respect to the banyan tree as well as Tulasi also. Now giving up the company of non-devotees. It is like atheists, demigods, worshippers, and Mayavadis. So these are the three kinds of people whom we should not associate. The atheists are the one who says that there is no God. Demigods are the administrators of the entire universe. So we should not take their company, or we should not try to become like them. We should not get bewildered by seeing them. And Mayavadis. These are three types. One is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's order to give up association of non-devotees. Second one, accept cage of iron or fire, but not non-devotees. So this is one which shows that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling you give up the association of non-devotee. Non-devotee is nothing but the Mayavadi. Mayavadi Krishna Aparadhi. And it is told here, even if I get thrown into the cage with the cage of iron and fire together, but I don't want association of non-devotees. Then prefer to embrace snake, tiger, or alligator rather than association of non-devotees. This is the strength of this statement. It is shown here. I am ready to go and embrace the snake which can bite me, or tiger or alligator, but I don't want to accept the association of Mayavadis. Next comes the not fit, accepting the unfit disciples who are not qualified, who doesn't follow. Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Nectar of Devotion, you can read. That is enough. Actually, we don't have to go to other scriptures. And Narada Muni says that don't accept unfit disciples in 7th Kanda, because if the student does any mistake, the spiritual master will get the reaction. Activities which is not forbidden, because Rupa Goswami himself did this. And avoid pride and prestige and follow Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's formula of printing books. Now, how to serve the Lord? You should use whatever resources we have in the service of the Lord. Next, 15 to 16, straightforwardness in the ordinary dealings. That means the financial transactions. Then equilibrium is needed in the, if you want to have a strong emotions, but there should not be any room for forgetting Krishna, and always you remember the Lord. Not neglect demigods. We should not disrespect them. Respect even an ant. So everyone is respectable. Everyone is part and parcel of the Lord. Purusha, that is Hari, is worshipable, and also demigods also worshipable. But only thing is, we should not worship them as spiritual, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are subordinates. Not giving pain to any living entities. Now, if threats are like children, will be favored by Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is told in Mahabharata. Never supports slaughterhouses. He doesn't give any pain for the living entities. Then the 8th chapter, it is a very small chapter. It is talking about the offenses that has to be avoided. It is aparadha. It is elaborated in the 19th item of sadhana, so it will be briefly told here. We have to fix our mind on Krishna, but what happens? This offense will take our mind away from him. So it is called aparadha. Radha means Radharani. Radharani is the one who takes us towards Krishna, and aparadha is the one which takes us away from Krishna. So that is the meaning of aparadha. So when we commit sin, it will take us away from Krishna's association. But among all the aparadha, the nama aparadha is very, we have to take very much care about it. Other offenses can be removed by chanting loudly every day. But it does not mean that we can deliberately commit sinful activities, then that itself is a sinful activity. And supplementary Vedic literature gives 32 lists of offenses. So these things will be studied in the 19th chapter. Varaha Purana is giving additional 29 offenses. So these are the Seva Aparadha during the worship of the Lord. Then Nama Aparadha, offenses in the chanting of the holy name. Now when we chant more and more, it will gradually go away. But offenses towards the holy name, especially the first offense, the blasphemy of the devotees, it cannot be eradicated by chanting. We should go and take pardon from him. And unless we take the permission or we don't get pardoned, there is no question of deliverance. Padma Purana gives the list of 10 offenses. So this is the brief summary what we saw today. The chapter 6 is talking about ways. What are the 64 ways to practice devotional service and evidence regarding devotional principles. Then offenses which has to be avoided. Then the 10 offenses which are against the holy name. And it is told in Padma Purana. You must be knowing these 10 offenses which has to be given up. The first offense is to blaspheme the devotees. Second offense is to consider names of demigods to be equal to or independent of Lord Vishnu. Third offense is disobeying the spiritual master. Fourth offense is blaspheming the Vedic literature. Fifth offense is considering chanting of the holy name as imagination. Sixth offense is giving some mundane interpretation. That means I change the meaning of the mantra, or I will speculate on it and I will say something which is away from the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. That is the fifth offense. Sixth offense. Seventh offense is committing sinful activities. When we do devotional service, our sinful reactions will go away. But if we use that chanting for doing more sin, then there is no excuse. So that it becomes very hard. We cannot get liberated at all. Then eighth one is chanting of the holy name, considering it as a karma kanda. Karma kanda means you can get the things done through the Shastra or Vedas. Vedas will give the knowledge. Whatever we want, we can get from the Vedas. So there are, this is called as eighth one, that is thinking through Hare Krishna mantra, also one of this karma kanda. So I can chant and I can get anything. And ninth one is instructing the faithless person, that is described just now. Then 10th one is continuing the material attachments even after understanding the instructions of the on the subject of chanting and devotional service. Then the 11th is to become inattentive while chanting. Inattentive while chanting is the root cause of all the problems. So we should chant attentively. Then we saw the evidences, offenses to be avoided. Okay. So 32 offenses are listed from supplementary Vedic writings and others are listed especially from the Varaha Purana. So with this, I will conclude for today's class. If you have any questions, any doubts, you can ask.